Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the end of July. I hope you all have had a wonderful summer. I told you guys I would be dropping this video right around this time. I have been very productive, you could say, over the past 8 weeks or so. And I've been getting a lot of stuff kind of ready to go for the next phase of my life. So, the first thing I just wanted to tell you guys was that if you're wondering about what's going on with me, things are going well, where everything's moving in a positive direction. I have kind of a road so far here we're at within the past couple of years that we've done this. When I started the advocacy at Middlebury Community Schools for their practices that led to John Homan killing himself, and it was just kind of a cry to say, please take this a little more seriously, like you really need to, because I don't think he's the only one. Since then, and all of the fallout that followed, here's where we're at today. The high school principal, one of the assistant superintendents, and the chief of police of the entire school district have all resigned in this past year and a half, which, I mean, I'm sure there's reasons, and I'm sure there's well-documented reasons. I'm sure there's health reasons. I'm sure, I'm sure it's all there, because as we're fond of knowing when it comes to people in those positions, if the information needs to be there, it can be fabricated and put later, it is. So some of you guys actually know more about that story than I do, but that's the one I'm just going to touch on for now. That's kind of where the advocacy has led to in that department. So if anybody tells you that your one voice doesn't matter, or your one vote doesn't matter, I disagree, honestly. I think one voice can make a whole hill of beans difference. And I think one voice saying out loud the same thing that 100 voices are dying to scream, it can be a very powerful effect. And also, what's going on in Middlebury right now is the fact that, there's been a couple of different groups that have grown out of the exposure of that corruption. One of them that I'm always kind of following is, there's literally a Moms Against Bullying out there, it kind of at the student level too, but, since what I've been, kind of bringing to light and what everybody else has been bringing to light, Middlebury Community Schools is not a good place to work. And it's really not a really good place to send your kids unless you are a very specific type of child and family. And you can look at that now. I mean, I think I just read the report that like half of Orchard View has resigned and kind of moving forward, and I get reached out to every time someone from MCS resigns because of the same stuff that I resigned for. They'll usually somehow get the information to me. It may not be them directly, but somebody will tell their story to me, and a lot of them do reach out just to say, hey, watching your videos and stuff, and I took a critical look at it in my own life, and I was able to last another year and a half, but man, I saw what you were talking about, and I'm out. And that's happening more now than not. And as I keep my ear to the ground on what Indiana is deciding to do with public education, I'm surprised that there's any teachers that are left that want to work in Indiana. And I will say this for all the teachers that work in Indiana. Some of you are some of the most amazing souls in some of the most corrupt systems. And you are the only reason that children get out of bed some days. And there's no words that I have to describe how much I respect you, because I put that fight, for over a decade myself. So I know that you're out there. I also know that there are some school systems out there that really try to fight off the corruption of the world and the country and the government, and just really try to focus on what's best for kids. I know that they're out there. I've seen them. But from everyone that I've spoken with, public education, as it is right now, as an institution, needs to start over. And you're going to hear some people, say, anarchy, you got to burn a system to the ground and build it up, and he's just this and he's just that. I'm going to simplify it real quick. If you have a system that you've had around for, the better part of half a century, and it is not working to produce what it should. And when we describe public education, it's free and it's appropriate. At least that's what we give our kids that have IEPs that need special accommodations. I don't know why we would have that any less for any of our children that don't need accommodations, to have a free and appropriate education. So I'm just going to say it's out there for all of us. And in its purest form, there's no agenda. There's no, you're not trying to get the kids to graduate, to vote a certain way, to take a certain job, to look a certain way. All of the stuff that is so just worthless in this world, all the stuff that is superfluous, surface level, it's rampant throughout the public education system. So, to that end, as you know, I've launched kind of this advocacy, and that's not going to change. It's going to evolve into a little bit of a different form, so I'm going to tell you where I'm at with it right now. The reason why I took this summer off kind of from doing mic drop videos was, one, because I'm starting my own business, which I'll get to in a second. But I had to put a lot of legwork into that. And also because I wanted to make sure that what I wanted to do going forward had the ability to reach a broader audience. For everything that the mic drop did in the Middlebury Entitlement School saga, for the mess that needed cleaned up out there, that was a very strong community pour-in to a corrupt system, and it worked wonders. I've had some experience here with Hazelwood's school system, and I'm going to also be looking to expose some of that stuff while I worked there. And so that's going to be, if you watch the last video, that's going to be the next saga coming out of the mic drops. But I've been talking with my supervisor, and I've been talking with a couple of other mental health people around here. And I would like to try to see if I can evolve the mic drop from a YouTube video update thing and move it into more of a Spotify podcast. And the good news is, where I'm at now out here close to St. Louis, I've surrounded myself with a wonderful group of individuals. A lot of them are, in my church family, and, they're younger professional minds. So stuff that, is going on in Spotify, stuff that I didn't grow up with, that's, awesome, that I listen to Spotify for, they know how to do. And so when I started, sharing kind of my story, and this, some people just poured into me right away, like, hey, the podcast, the way they do on Spotify, it seems pretty simple and kind of the next evolution. And I was like, what are you talking about? And so they had me look at Joe Rogan, and they had me look at Russell Brand's Into the Woods, the Kelsey brothers, just because they're goofy, and I'm goofy with my brothers, so it appeals. And so in that kind of iteration, I'm looking to see if I can evolve it into that direction. And what it's going to focus on is it'll continue to focus on the advocacy to expose the corruption inherent in public education. That's not going to go away, but it's going to become bigger. I would like it to get out of local and get maybe into state, and out of state and into national. Because this public education system, it's coast to coast, and the corruption is coast to coast. So if there are stories out there, if there are people fighting this fight, and I know that there are because I'm watching your stories similar to how you're watching mine, I want to reach out to that audience. I want to tap into that audience, and I want to hear stories from all over. Because if this is as big as I know it is and how I've heard it is, to get that information out there for everybody to hear, it's just the right thing to do. There's too much in our media right now that is fake, fabricated, created for a specific agenda, and there isn't enough people just sharing the truth. And it doesn't have to be the truth of facts. It could be the truth of your personal experience. And I've gleaned a lot more wisdom from people's personal experiences in situations that I have than reading about the news stories that seem to come out about them. Take that however you want to. I mean, I'm sure you can read into that just as much as I have, but I have enjoyed hearing from my peers more than I've heard from someone who represents my peers. And I want to continue to do that. So if it pops off, as the kids say, if it blows up, if it kind of launches, then what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to do it as often as possible, and maybe have a half hour every night, or a half hour or an hour a night, just talking about the corruption that's found in public education throughout the entire country. So that's on the docket. That's something I've been kind of putting into motion going forward. But The big thing that I've been doing for the past 8 weeks is I have been creating my own business. So the main purpose of this mic drop video is to fulfill a promise that I made to over 1,000 graduates over my 10 plus years at Middlebury Community Schools. And as I went through and I've gotten to know the families and I've gotten to know siblings and just you've grown up with some of these kids and families, and some of them now are young parents in their own right and just doing wonderfully and trying to fight in a world where it's not kind to like the 20 something, early 30 something right now. So all of my kids, my 1,000 graduates that I've had over time, I promised that if I ever became a licensed therapist and I started taking clients of my own, that I would give you guys dibs first. So this is me keeping that promise, and here's what you should know, okay? In this video, I'm going to post the link to my website. My website is for counseling, and it is live. And what it's going to show is it's going to be, just kind of description of me, what I'm going to do in my own private practices, and also kind of describe a little bit about the mission. I want to do a special shout out to 3 individuals in particular in this video because they really helped me kind of get my mind around the end product. But there's a portion on there, and this part of the video is for you guys, for the graduates. There is a section on there that's just going to be called testimonials, okay? And I have invited any single child or sibling of a child that I have been their counselor for, or parent of a child, anybody who has had an experience with me as a counselor. If you want to leave a blurb, if you want to leave like a 3-sentence, 4-sentence thing saying, hey, this is how I think of Molohon as a counselor, I'm going to post every single one that I get, if you want to. And I had 3 kind of reach out to me, or I reached out to early on because they're 3 people that I kind of kept in contact with, 3 of many people that I kept in contact with, but I kind of liked it where it was. But Paige Hopkins, Paige, that was for you. Thank you so much. Every time I read your testimony, it makes me have tears, so I can only read it once every so often. But love you to death. Thank you so much for that. Anna Pooters, matriarch of the Pooters clan, you're phenomenal. Thank you so much for what you've had to say and just kind of how you've been involved in my life going through the corruption of that stuff too. And Mr. Reed, Tevin Reed, you know how you are, buddy, and I appreciate you so much. So you and I keep it 100 more than anybody else, and that has always made me a better counselor, and I appreciate that with you. So the fact that you're able to share your truth on how I've been as a counselor for people to read, that's fantastic. So for you guys, thank you, love you to death. And for everyone else out there that would like this, you kind of have the same choice as I do my mic drop videos when I'm doing advocacy for someone. If you don't want to leave a testimony at all, don't. They just say, hey, Molohon, good luck, great, thumbs up, keep going, do your thing. Awesome. If you want to leave one, but you want it to be anonymous, and I have had, a graduate from 2016 say, I would love to say something, but I just don't want my name in it. And I'm like, great. So I'll put exactly what you posted, and I'll put graduate of the 2016 class. Or if it's a parent, I'll put a parent of the graduate of 2016 class, and that way, you remain anonymous. But for those of you that want your name attached to it, you're going to get it. I'm going to post as many of them as I get, okay? So I'm inviting you now, as you're listening to this, if it's something that you feel led to do. A lot of this time it gets posted on YouTube on here, but if you are connected with me on Facebook, send me that message. If you're not connected with me on Facebook, go ahead and do so, because I don't know if anybody's noticed recently, but this summer I've started reconnecting with every single former graduate I possibly could. Anybody that's been associated with any of my former graduates, anybody that's been involved in any of the stuff in Middlebury that I've done, I have reached out to connect with on Facebook, just because you are a community that I have poured a decade of my life into. And if I'm going to be moving in a different direction, there's no way I'm leaving you behind. There's no way I would want to. So this is an invitation for you to do that. Okay. I would also invite you guys to go ahead and check it out. The website itself, I kind of spent a few weeks, building from scratch. And so I've tested it out a couple times with, my brothers and a couple other people to go ahead and do some kind of test appointments, but it is live and it's ready to go. So if you want to go in there, go ahead and check it out. You can. What you will notice is that there is a free 30-minute consultation offered for every new client, every single one of them. And the reason why that is as you read through my stuff on the website, you'll read about me, you'll read about what I do, you'll read about how much it costs, you'll read about insurance, you'll read about all that stuff. And a lot of the time you just have general questions. Or a lot of the time you just want to catch back up, be like, hey, where are we at right now? I haven't talked with some of you in so long that I would love to hear from you, okay? If it's something where you've decided, yes, I would like to take Molohon as a therapist, even across 2 states, then we'll be connecting anyway, okay? But check it out. Let me know what you think. And this is kind of the serious business portion of the mic drop. If you are serious about having me as your therapist, you should know a couple of things right now. One of them is that I am a provisionally licensed professional counselor, a PLPC. It's the first 2 years you get before you are basically a therapist. Lawyers have it, it's associateship, doctors have it, they've got their hours and all that stuff. It's the first 2 years of doing it. A lot of the people that have the provisional license, they get it right out of grad school more than someone like me who's had over a decade of experience already as a licensed counselor. So they go into this kind of a 2-year, maybe 3,000 hour kind of supervision program. And so that's what I have right now. I have a supervisor. His name is Dave Gukas. He's fantastic. He's actually helped me personally and my family as a therapist, and is continuing to kind of mentor me and supervise me as a therapist going forward. So what that means for you guys is a couple of things. The first one is that when we talk, if you're serious about having me as a therapist, when we have that first 30-minute consultation, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take from that a conversation back to him, and I'm going to say, hey, it's one of my kiddos. Here's the situation. Here's how we want to tackle it. What do you think? Anything fishy about that? Everything on the up and up? Just because I'm still learning a lot of the rules about how insurance looks at things and all the rest. The good news is he's willing to do that and is more than happy to show me the ropes. So I'll be doing that going forward. But anyway, it's a kind of a long, convoluted process, which is why I'm offering the free 30-minute consultations. If anybody wants to have me as a therapist, I want to talk with you about every question you would have first, okay? I've been this way my entire life. You can ask any one of my kids that I've counseled in the last 10 to 12 years. The one thing that I'm known for more than anything else is honesty, and apparently that's not always good in a public education system that likes to keep secrets. But as far as my clients have gone, they love the complete transparency, and I will continue to be completely transparent with you, which is why I created an entire page just to try explaining the cost. There's a couple of videos on there that explain the difference between what cash pay is and what using the super bill would be with insurance. But like I said, as questions arise, you can talk with me. So that's the update as far as where I'm going professionally. So here's something else you should know. I've signed a contract with a foundation around here that focuses on sending licensed therapists into the schools to specifically combat cyberbullying, bullying, and just general picking on of every single kind. Okay, some of you guys have heard this story already, but I joined the Megan Meyer Foundation, and they have a grant that's also through their city and also through the entire state, that if children are being bullied in school, or they need free counseling, they'll provide that. So I will be contracting with them so that I can continue to work with the local kids that are around here that I've already started to develop relationships with, and serve kind of locally in that. So that's going to be part of what my career is going to be. The other half is going to be whoever wants to come through my door. So you guys should know this about me by now. I'm not exactly quiet about my faith. And there have been a lot of contradictions lately between church culture and what I refer to as Jesus culture, which would be the genuine followers of the way that Jesus kind of had it before, church in it as an establishment itself became corrupted, just sometimes in as big as government, education, all the rest. And you guys hear that because I'm not making any of that up. All those stories are out there for you to read too. But you should know this about me, okay? As I'm not quiet about it, the foundation of what I'm going to be doing is always going to be rooted through who I think he needs me to help. Every time I've taken a job in my entire life, I have said a very quick prayer and it looks like this. God, you know exactly where you want me to work, and you know where you don't want me to work. I have no idea, but it seems like these are a lot of good places. So do me a favor, because I know that I'll get in the way and screw it up. Could you shut every single door that I'm not supposed to walk through, and can you put a big neon sign with like fireworks and some drone show or something over the one door I'm supposed to walk through? Because knowing me, I'm going to be blind and try to do something different. In Jesus' name, I would ask. Amen. So that's been my prayer for every job I've ever taken. Similarly, as a therapist, here's how it looks every single day and how I've been as a school counselor. God, you know exactly who I need to help today. You know who to bring in through my door. And the only thing that I would ask you is that you have them come readily and willingly if they're afraid. And for me, empty me of me so that I can be filled with you, because your voice sounds a lot better than mine as a counselor. You are the greatest one. In Jesus' name, amen. And so on and so forth. And I will pray this every single day for the rest of my life. As such, I'm opening myself up to God to say, bring to me who you want me to help, whoever it is. And in whatever capacity that looks like, I'm open to. As you guys know, I've been out of the box ever since I found out that you can get outside of the box. I don't like the inside of the box. It doesn't serve everybody, and it's only catered towards certain people. So I'm out of the box, I'm under the box, I'm through the box, I'm through the box away. And as I continue to go into that, if you guys feel that you are someone that would benefit from me as your therapist, reach out. If you have friends that are interested in having someone as a therapist, reach out. Now, for those of you in Indiana, it's going to look a little bit different because I'm in Missouri. So everything that we're going to have to do basically is telehealth, which is exactly how we would do it here. For all of my graduates that I've talked to in the last 4 years, we did this a lot during COVID. And it was a lot of fun, especially when you guys showed me how to do the different backdrops, and that just got to be a little crazy. But you know what? We all needed a laugh during that pandemic because it was a very stressful time, and I was very happy to be educated. I wonder if that kid still has my office built in his Minecraft server. Anyway, that was a long time ago. But this is where I'm at. This is where I'm going, and this is what I'm looking forward to. Okay? I'm no longer going to answer to a school corporation that has an agenda for your children. Because I found out what that agenda was when I looked behind the curtain, and it made me sick. At the last school district, it made me so sick I was actually throwing up on a regular basis while at work, and that never happens. So as I continue to be more and more informed of the actual, well, let's just call it the reality that no one ever really wants you to see, I'm going to share as much of that as I possibly can with you for as long as I possibly can. And my days right now are going to be spent between, service, as it always has been. I'm going to be doing this, these mic drop videos and try to see if I can move them into Spotify. And then I'm going to go and start counseling kids. And that's going to be me for a while, which is exactly what I've been building towards. Okay. College loans got knocked off, ready to move on between public ed. I bought my first car, which I thought was really cool. I've been leasing since 2008, so it was nice to kind of move that. Everything is moving in a positive direction. And a lot of you guys wanted to know that because you hadn't heard from me from this summer, and so I'm making sure to articulate that to you now. So as we come to the end, I'm just going to let you know, you have all been on my mind so much recently. It's not getting any better out there. And you can you already know that. I don't have to convince you of anything. Because it's not getting better out there, there is a critical need more and more and more for people with genuine hearts, for people that I truly believe are a part of the Jesus culture, the actual service culture, the love your neighbor as yourself and love God with everything you've got. That culture alone. We need y'all. Like, it's time. I don't like the way the direction that the world's going, and if it continues along the direction that it is, I'm going to want to try and get as much of what's behind the curtain out in front of the curtain as soon as possible so that you guys can see as much of it as you can and make your own informed decisions. I'm done listening to what people have to tell me to say to do without trying to at least lead me to a place where I could also discover it on my own and ask questions. Imagine if we could go back to a day where we could have a disagreement and shake hands and say, man, I'm really glad I disagreed with you. That really challenged some of my perceptions. Thanks for the argument. Thanks for the debate, and walk away as friends. Walk away even better. Wouldn't that be something? But that's the world that I'm going to continue to fight for. And it starts with the kids. And so I'm not deviating much from there. Okay? I'm going to leave my information in the comments section in the bottom. Feel free to check out my website, like I said. If you are going to schedule appointments with me, take it seriously, guys. This is my job now, obviously. So you can read through when you're scheduling appointments what the policies are for late or miss and all that stuff. I put that all out there for you. And if you guys just want to drop a line, let me know how you're doing. I'd love to hear from you too. So I know a lot of us have all been busy this summer, and myself, I've been hermiting more than anything else kind of in there. But I'm looking forward to this next year. So as we come to towards the end of the summer, looking for the next school year, I will just leave you with this word of encouragement. When everything looks hopeless, just remember that even a tiny, infinitesimal bit of hope, that much, completely defeats the word hopeless. Because even if there's that much, just that, it can never truly be hopeless. So, this is Mike from the Mic Drop. I love talking to you guys, and look forward to hearing from you soon. I'm your host, the Mike with the Most. Have a wonderful day.